Welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls. Thank you for tuning in. On today's episode, we'll be asking the question, is Derrick Rose deserving of having his jersey retired? What are his Hall of Fame chances? And then what current Bull has the best shot at getting the number retired for the Chicago Bulls? We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen. Locked On Bulls is a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, and we're jumping right in it today. First up, Derrick Rose. Ever since that Photoshop picture came out with Goran Dragic in number one, a lot of noise has been made. The Bulls equipment manager, this is his time to shine. How often is the equipment manager interviewed by anything? But he said that nobody will get the number one as long as he's around. But so question is to you, right? I think it's going to happen. It's all but a foregone conclusion. But do you think Derrick Rose's number should be retired?
It's tough, right? Because the reason we hold it in such high regard is more so what he did in such a short span of time, but it didn't end in a championship. That's not to say there's not guys up in the rafters already who didn't win championships, because there's literally 6 years of guys that did. I probably think it will be retired. I probably think that it should be retired just because of the outrage that instantly breaks out in Chicago. Didn't they actually, this is the weird part, right? Didn't they actually give the number to Michael Carter Williams?
Michael Carter Williams had the number. He was going to have the, and that was only 2 years after Derrick Rose left. It wasn't even that long after he left.
They
was tripping. They was tripping. Yeah.
But nah, it's tough, right, for me, because it's a personal honor by the Bulls. So if they want to retire it. If they don't. I can't say that Derrick Rose has done enough in his career outside of the short span we saw, where it's he's one of the greatest players we've ever seen, so his numbers should be in the rafters. But as far as Chicago Bulls go, he's absolutely one of the greatest Chicago Bulls we've ever seen. So yeah, throw it up there.
I mean, to me, it's not only what he meant for the team in that span, but what he meant to the city of Chicago as well. Yeah. The fact that, that the best years since the dynasty were because of Derrick Rose, in many ways. So, to me, yeah, it's all but a foregone conclusion, in my opinion, that Derrick Rose's number will be and should be retired. I know that and we'll get into more of that conversation as far as the length of his career, as far as being an impact player. Yeah. Once we get into the conversation of should he get into the Hall of Fame. But when it comes to Derrick Rose in the city of Chicago, his number being retired, it has to be, bro. To me, it has to be. And I don't. I look at that as it's half basketball, half things just outside of basketball, admittedly. But sometimes you have to do things that are special to the fan base, special to the community. And Derrick Rose's number being retired does all of that to me. And just looking, the lasting legacy of Derrick Rose, when we really talk about Derrick Rose, we're really talking about, he was in Chicago for 7 seasons, but we're really looking at 4 seasons of being impact. That's just realistically, we're just looking at that. And outside of that, he did have the team was still built around him to a degree after that. And he did have the game-winning shot over LeBron in the playoffs after his knee injury. But when we're talking about a player that had the city of Chicago and the NBA almost eating out of his hands. Yeah, it was really it blazed very brightly, but very shortly as well, and we just got to admit that. So, but we'll have more of that conversation when we get into the Hall of Fame, because that's more of a national type thing. But when it comes to Chicago sports, the franchise of the Chicago Bulls, it's hard for me to put up any argument that doesn't end with Derrick Rose getting his number retired. And that may be me being a fanboy, that may be me being a homer, but I can admit all those biases, but I still think he should get his number retired.
100%. I think if we being 100% honest, right, that's really what it is. Because as much as I love Derrick Rose, right, what are the numbers that are retired up there? Bob Love, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Jerry Sloan.
Is that it?
I believe so. Derrick Rose hasn't accomplished as much as any of those guys.
Yeah, none of them. Yeah, not even Bob Love. And yeah, you're right. Only 4 numbers are retired by the Bulls: 4, 10, 23, and 33.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, as much as I love Derrick, and I wouldn't care one way or the other, like, I think there will always be a respect around his number. Until like somebody comes here and is like, no, I'm taking it, and then they wear it and they like dominate, and then we'll forget. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But like, to me, right, like, if we're being like the analytical breakdown what it is, like, he hasn't accomplished as much as any of those players up there. But if you're taking into account Chicago, he's from here, grew up here. He's that level of play. He was that level of player, youngest MVP of all time. Yeah, sure, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, like, it's tough to say because it's like I love Derrick Rose on one hand, and for me, right, like, put Joakim's number up there.
Well, that's what we're gonna get into next. Is like, what other Bulls do you think should have the number retired? And by a lot of the same metrics that I'm talking about Derrick Rose. And you know, I had this conversation, I think, actually in your Discord, and P Kid was like, okay, but then shouldn't Kirk get his number retired? It's different, but I definitely think Joakim Noah, probably not right now. It's probably going to take a while, but I definitely think Joakim Noah should be in that conversation as well.
I doubt either of them actually get their number retired.
Oh yeah, I will admit it's not going to happen. This part of the conversation is just completely speculative, right? I think Derrick Rose has to get his number retired, but Joakim Noah is a player that I would like to see. I know it's very unlikely to happen. If anything, Florida should absolutely retire his number.
Florida should definitely retire.
Florida should definitely retire his number. But looking at Joakim Noah's Chicago Bulls career, again, what he did for the city, what he continues to do for the city of Chicago, because he still is very active in helping things in the city of Chicago. But when you look at a player like Joakim Noah, in the years that he played in Chicago, what was he? Did he hit 10 years in Chicago, or was it 8? Can't remember.
Joakim was drafted what?
9. He played 9 seasons in Chicago. It's hard to make that argument like logically for his number to be retired. That's why I said this is a complete fan vote. This is just complete and utter, just something I would like to see, because Joakim Noah, to me, again, bias is absolutely involved in this. Joakim Noah is my 3rd favorite Bull of all time. Yeah. So
I'd love it, right? Like, I'm also not the guy that like the jersey retirement means the world to me. That's especially fair. And here's the thing, right? Especially with like the guys that have been retired under Jerry Reinsdorf teams. Like, when you look at a lot of the White Sox that have statues or have things built up to them, it's like, all right, I loved him, but like a statue, brother, like thought we set statue precedent out here with Jordan. So like, there's a lot of that I look at as well. Like, and it's really let's be real, it's a fan thing.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Like, it's a respect to what that person meant to the city of Chicago and what that person meant to the fans when you retire somebody's number. Jordan and Pippen meant something to us. Bob Love at one point meant something great to Chicago. Jerry Sloan at one point meant something great to Chicago. They didn't win championships either. So like, you also have to take that into account. Granted, they had much longer length of success in Chicago, but like, it's really just about like, when somebody goes to put that, like, could you imagine like 10 years down the road, somebody trying to wear the number 23? People don't like when somebody on other teams wear the number 23.
Yeah. I
mean, you better be a dog if you wearing 23 on somebody else's team. You know what I'm saying? Bro, so like,
you got to really be doing something.
It's really just about us. So maybe he'll get in for that, but like, or maybe he'll get his number retired for that reason. But I don't know. Jerry probably be dead by then.
You know, and here goes my bias, right? Because like I said, I can admit it. I'm so much harder on NFL jersey retirements than basketball jersey retirements, because to me, like, when it comes to the Bears, if you didn't play your whole career for the Bears, you don't even need to be in the conversation for your number to be retired. That's just that's my personal thing with that, right?
Bears,
they're done retiring numbers. But the Bears, what the Bears do, and what a lot of teams do in football as well, is they have the Ring of Honor thing where they don't actually retire your number, but they give you a ceremony, things like that. I would like to see that adopted in basketball because there are a lot of Bulls who would deserve an honor like that who don't necessarily hit their number being retired.
Right? Huh? Joe got that last year. Remember what was the ceremony?
The ceremony that was just a retirement because they never got to have it because it was during COVID.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so that was just them being able to do something to honor him with fans in the arena and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love to see them. Even if it starts with Derrick Rose, them start a Ring of Honor type thing for the Bulls, and it may be Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, or the first class of that. I can think of some other Bulls that may deserve that as well. Maybe you started off with a class like that. Steve Kerr can get his name involved in that point too. Like you do it like that with some of the greatest Bulls over the last few decades, and then you start a Ring of Honor type thing. I would love to see that for the Chicago Bulls.
I wouldn't be mad at that. That would be that would be fine, and at least then, right? Like it puts it in some reverence where, like, even if somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey, let me get that number one," and like, wait a minute, brother.
Exactly.
You see that ring over there? You want to do this? You gonna do this to yourself? You gotta be a dog.
I would love to be an NBA equipment manager because I'm gonna. What number did you say? You said 13. You sure about that? Is that what you want to do to yourself? Because I tell you what, the first game you look like you're not giving effort, they're gonna be like, take that number off because Chicago don't play.
Hold up though? Has nobody worn 13 since Joe?
No, somebody did wear 13 since.
I was gonna say, I think we've had a 13.
We've had a number 13. Yeah. We have had a number 13. I just can't remember.
Nobody had a stroke about it. Like
Tony Bradley wears number 13.
You said what?
Tony Bradley wears number 13.
Does he really?
Yes, bro. I knew it was somebody recent. Tony Bradley wears number 13.
Get the militia together, brother. Does he really? Hold on. I gotta Google this and see this with my own eyes.
All right, while you're Googling let me talk to you guys about betonline.net. Betonline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the number one source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts that have you covered. Head to BetOnline today to use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, so after Pat just had a heart attack finding out Tony Bradley wears number 13.
Yeah, because I just never paid attention to it.
Because it's one of those things that legitimately, like, you're so caught up looking at how bad he plays. It's just like, bro, what would make? I know he wore number 13 in OKC as well, so that's probably his number. But it's like when you come to the Chicago Bulls, when you come to the Chicago Bulls, you should know, like, hey man, listen, wait a second, maybe I shouldn't do this. You're really in shock right now, bro. Like, look on your face is priceless.
It's more of a like. Bro, nobody had no outrage on this. Like, we ain't heard nothing about this.
I am more surprised about that.
Now hold on, no. Now I'm seeing him in a no. Okay, that's 11. This looked like he wearing 19 though. I think they didn't give Tony. No, he's in 13, playing 13. Against Denzel Valentine in this picture. This is an awful picture.
So imagine this, bro. I'm looking at it right now. The picture of Steven Adams picking Tony Bradley up and carrying him away. He's wearing number 13. You got to change the number, brother. Maybe if he changes his number, he'll have a better season. You're disrespecting the honor of Joakim Noah, bro.
All right.
Yeah, that's extremely frustrating. But let's get into this. So we talked a lot about Rose in the last segment. Now let's switch it from just how it relates to Chicago Bulls to Hall of Fame. There have been no MVPs to not make the Hall of Fame. Could Derrick Rose be the first MVP not to get the honor of Hall of Fame? What do you think about it?
You know what's interesting about this, right? Like, I've heard a lot of people say, like, oh, he'll get in, he won't get in, he'll get in, he won't get in. He's gonna get in.
Oh, you think so?
Tracy McGrady's never been out of the first round. Ain't he in the Hall of Fame?
That's a good point, brother. I'd never thought about it in that.
Like the Hall of Fame in the NBA has become the hall of I feel good about this guy.
Well, keep in mind too that the Hall of Fame is not just the NBA Hall of Fame; it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's why a lot of people have been able to sneak by.
But what did Tracy McGrady do outside of the NBA? He came straight from high school, didn't
he? Yeah, he made being cockeyed a trend. I don't know.
And it's no disrespect to T-Man. I love T-Man, right? Like, yeah, I'm fine with him being in the Hall of Fame. But
the thing is I think with Tracy McGrady, right? It was because had it not been for like how many people get into the Hall of Fame like for giving credit of like, well, you know, if his career, if it wasn't derailed by injury, because T-Mac. He had more seasons of being an impact player than Derrick Rose. I will say that. Like T-Mac had almost 8 years in a row of averaging over 20 points per game. So there's a conversation to be made with that, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying, bro. He led the league in scoring 2 years in a row. I mean, yeah, you're right. Never made it out the first round. Never was even in championship contention. But he still had a longer run than Derrick Rose.
He had a run from what, 99 to what, 05?
So his years of averaging over 20 points per game came from 2000 until 2007-08. He had all those seasons. He averaged over 20 points per game. He led the league in scoring 2 out of those seasons.
He played most of the games in all them seasons.
He played. So let's look. In just this period, he played 77 games, 76 games, 75, 67, 78, 47, 71, and 66. So, yeah, he played in the majority of those games.
Heck of a run.
Yeah.
Again, right, like, it sounds like it's disrespect, but it's really just like regular season success don't amount to much.
Okay, that's fair.
When you're talking Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a lot of guys that you look at that you say, oh, this guy was a dog in the regular season and they get in the Hall of Fame. But T-Mac's one of those, right? Because it just never worked out for him, right? When he finally had the team that could roll with him in the playoffs, he wasn't healthy enough at those times, or that team wasn't healthy enough at those times, right? Those Houston Yao teams you could have seen maybe going on a deep run, but those teams just weren't healthy enough. He got a ring. Oh, no, he does have a ring.
Who did Tracy McGrady get a ring with?
Don't Tracy McGrady got a ring with the Spurs? No. Am I thinking of somebody? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Steven Jackson.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking about there. I was about to say, wait a second with that one. I look at this, like, all right, so I'm looking at players in the NBA, well, in the Basketball Hall of Fame that may not deserve it. Dave Bing is in the NBA Hall of Fame. Gail Goodrich is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah. Frank Ramsey, Basketball Hall of Fame. Calvin Murphy. Bill Walton. No, Bill Walton definitely deserves it. I know Bill Walton only technically played, like, when it all says and done, he played like 2 seasons worth of basketball games in his whole career. But still, when he was on the court,
championships,
exactly,
2 MVPs,
yeah. Bill Walton deserves it. Earl Monroe.
Nah, come on. I don't disrespect.
You giving the Earl the Pearl Monroe?
Bro, come on, bro. That's basketball legend right there.
I mean, yeah, but
and if I'm not mistaken, Earl the Pearl got some jewelry on his hand.
This is very true. You know what
I mean? Like,
very true.
I can't be mad at
it. When you win the argument legitimately, I give you your credit, bro. You just won that argument.
That was a tough statement. Yeah.
But so
I don't think that there's anybody in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's not discredited in the Hall of Fame, but like, to me, right, like, once you start letting guys that made you feel like T-Mac's in there because Kobe once said that T-Mac was the best player in the NBA. And we agree with it, right? We could see it. Like, T-Mac was absolutely the best player in the NBA at one point. And then he wasn't healthy. Yeah, I mean, so like, to that same effect, right? Like, Derrick Rose at one point was the best player in the NBA.
So are we saying then at this point, are we saying that basically if you have success in winning MVP, no matter how small or short that success is that basically a walk into the Hall of Fame at this point? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's always been said that way.
Okay. Because
there's never been he would be the first MVP to miss, and I don't think the NBA would do that. Also, he's like the NBA's little brother.
I get what you're saying with that.
You know what I mean? Like it's literally like everybody in the NBA. I don't think I've ever seen a person that like didn't love Derrick Rose.
No, who was the writer? I can't remember. There was a writer who literally, I think it was John Hollinger, who literally crapped on Derrick Rose, even in his MVP year, was like, he's just not that good. It's like, what are you talking about? But he's the only person. He's the outlier.
I mean, all right, poor. Like I said, in the NBA, I ain't worried about Buddy.
Yeah,
I'm talking. Well, I guess the writers do vote on. No, they don't vote on the Hall, do they? Do they vote on the Hall?
No, they don't vote on the Hall.
No, I ain't think so. No, I think he'll end up getting in there, right? Like just off of the nostalgia of it, what he accomplished in the NBA. I don't think to me, I've never thought that there was a way. Now, do I think that there's an argument on why he shouldn't make it? Yeah. Like when you look at the length of his career and it's still going, but what he's accomplished, right? We're really talking about the Bulls years, a 50-point game in Minnesota, and an exciting first round in New York. Like that's really what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So it's not that long, but when he was healthy and able to go, he was dominant. And if T-Mac can get in, I think Derrick Rose can too.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I would say that I think that if there is any MVP not to make it in, it would be Derrick Rose, just because we're really looking at 4 seasons of impact Derrick Rose. But with that being said, like, did he still have some success after that? Yes. Did he still lead a team to a playoff series even after his injury? Yes. And, you know, co-led, because I know there are going to be some people who says, well, Jimmy Butler at that point had taken over the team. Still co-led. But, you know, being the youngest MVP ever on top of having an MVP, I think he's probably going to get in, but I will say that I can understand the argument for him not getting in.
Also, am I tweaking? Isn't Grant Hill in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Ain't that kind of the same thing?
Still had longer run than Derrick. Like, that's the thing. All of them had longer runs of being impact than Derrick Rose.
It's interesting. I guess I could see it. What's Grant Hill? I don't know. What's Grant Hill numbers looking like out here? Now I'm breaking mugs down out here, because to me it's like Grant Hill definitely had that run in Detroit. That boy was a dog in Detroit.
Yeah.
But I mean, Grant Hill's run is from his rookie year essentially to 99, right? 94, 95, 96, 97. Didn't play in 98, 99. And then after that, it was injury-riddled career. And numbers going down from there. So,
yeah.
Really a same amount of run as Derrick Rose, just about. Maybe a little bit more. In those seasons, he averaged 19, 20, 21, 21, and 25 that last season with the Pistons in 99.
Yeah.
I think they got this written wrong. He played in 98. They got 99 twice on here. But I think he got the season cut short. So I think he played in 98. So a 5-year run. He's in the Hall. After that, he was a role player on every team he went to. He was supposed to be a star with T-Mac on that Magic team, but it just never happened. So I look at guys like that and I say, if that guy can get in there, Derrick Rose can get in there.
Yeah. Okay, fair. Let us know down below what you guys think on that conversation about Derrick Rose's chances to get in the Hall of Fame. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to get into the next topic. Oh, you got a little read there to do, brother.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. I don't, but I do. Hey, we gotta tell you guys, though, which NFL stars moved the betting line most. Started on July 18th. Locked On started giving you the 50 most valuable players in the NFL based on the odds makers at BetOnline. It's already available over on Locked On NFL, wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube.
There you go. All right. Last topic of the day, my brother. We got to get into it. All right, so this one is just a list of what current Bulls do we think have the best chances of getting their number retired. And since we went there in the earlier conversation, let's not say this. Let's say getting into a theoretical ring of fire or ring of fame, whatever we said. Ring of fire. What the ring of fire?
The ring of fire.
There you go. Oh, but with that being said, what current Bulls do you think have the best chance of getting there?
If the Bulls continue to have success the way they are, and they get somewhere in the playoffs, right? Like, I think at a minimum, you got to be competing in an ECF.
Okay.
Because we're going to have that conversation with Derrick Rose. Those are the heights that he rose to. Zach LaVine will probably be the only one that has the best chance of getting there currently because of everything he went through beforehand. So you're talking about getting here, recovering from ACL surgery, going through Hoiberg, going through Boylan, finally getting Donovan. At some point in there, you end up winning, hopefully with Billy Donovan, but we'll see how that ends up working out as the years go by, right? Like, I think it's just Zach LaVine. Like, I don't think there's anybody else on this team that nobody else has been here long enough. It's an entirely new roster.
Yeah.
DeMar doesn't do it for me because, like, DeMar is essentially a store-bought assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Vooch was brought in on the tail end of his career. Hopefully not, but it seems like it's trending that way. Maybe Ayo Dosunmu gets there someday because, again, he's a Chicago kid. But I don't know. I think it's just Zach LaVine because he's got the years here.
Okay. I would say this, like, when talking about best chance, I'm looking at, like, total impact, what they could do. Yeah, Zach LaVine right now is clear the one that has the best chance because he has been here the longest. But, I mean, looking at other players that have chances, right? Lonzo has to stay healthy. Lonzo continues doing what he does on the court. He's absolutely has a chance to do that. But it is really hard right now to say that because nobody's been here that long. Like, well, we got Kobe and Zach as the most tenured Bulls on this team.
Yeah. Legit.
So
and the thing with that is, right, like, even with the guys that could make that leap, like, for me, right, Ayo could make that leap, but that would mean that Lonzo Ball died. Yeah. So I don't want to see that either. Like, I would rather see Lonzo play well, and then Ayo's our bench point guard, and we have to decide what to do there. Man, and I'll tell you this, man. In the video yesterday, I was reacting to Zach LaVine highlights, but I ended up just
saw that. Yeah,
how Lonzo Ball could pass the ball.
His vision is bananas, bro. Bananas. Like, Lonzo Ball literally can, wherever he's sitting right now, he can see you and pass you the ball where you are right now.
In LA, he just throws a pass. It bounces off of 3 cars on the highway, gets to the airport, gets on a plane with a ticket, sits in the plane,
rolls out, hits another, like,
bounces
like,
in, I catch it.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball his court vision is bananas. But I also look at it like this, right? If we're talking about has a chance, I'm gonna say this, right? And this is complete again and utter just talking.
Yeah.
Considering he's from Chicago, he was a second-round pick, and how he flashed, I would assume he was going to have a chance if his career progression keeps going the way that it seems like it's going to go after 1 year. We'll be talking. In 8 years, we'll be having the same conversation about Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah.
So,
well, I hope, right? That means that he turned out great, and AK got a deal done. That's the goal there. Yeah, I mean, and Marco turned out great as well. Like Marco Simonovic, he'll have a shot at it. Tony Bradley's getting in, brother. Bradley.
Tony Bradley's not getting in anything. What's the opposite of the Hall of Fame?
I couldn't even think of nothing.
Shaqtin' the Fool? He can get in the Shaqtin' the Fool Hall of Fame. There you go.
He has avoided Shaqtin' the Fool for the most part. I will say that. What the? Bro, y'all can't see this on the podcast side, but Haize Cat gotta be the most disrespectful animal in his house. And that's in a house that's got one of the most disrespectful dogs I've ever seen in my life, right? Haize animals just run up in the camera. They just
Oh
be
man.
and the problem is, right, they don't even do it like Imma run up in the camera and get out the camera, like I'm just passing through. They run up in the camera
They want to
and be
make sure
like,
you see him.
I want you to see me. I
They're
want you
P.
to know
Diddy.
that I'm here.
All
Yeah.
in the video. Take that. That's how my
Yeah,
animals
man.
come in the video.
Watch this. That's your cat. Your cat is the usher of cats.
Oh
Your
man,
cat is
she's
the usher of cats. Somebody said yesterday in the comments, man, be like, y'all be cutting up at the end of the show. Bro, if you're not making it to the end of this show, you are missing out on phenomenal.
bro. I tell you what, the people who don't make it to the end, they miss out on some amazing things. That's all I can say, bro.
We have come up with Captain Carney, JV, doggone, what is Zion Williamson getting the
Zion
BBL?
Williamson getting the BBL. That
It all happens in the last 5 minutes of the show, bro.
oh man, bro, that clip still make. I've seen that clip probably about 100 times in the last 24 hours, and I laugh
bro.
every time, bro.
Bro, that clip was priceless, bro.
Man, listen, bro, that was one of the best things that we've done, bro.
It was the Discord comments for me. Somebody said you on Zion Williamson with 50 inches of bounce and 50 inches of booty. I was like, what, dog? What? Y'all gotta relax up in that mug.
That is hilarious, bro. Oh, but yeah, man. Yeah, you got anything left, man, before we go home and send them off for the weekend, brother?
Nah, man. I think that's pretty much it, man. If some Bulls news break, y'all know where to come to. You know, we'll be over here on Locked On Bulls. So follow us on everything at Pat the Designer. Also follow both of us, or follow me at Pat the Designer. Follow both of us on everything at Locked On Bulls. Make sure y'all getting in tune with the Instagram and the Twitter on that. Shout out to y'all, man.
Absolutely. You can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where the Locked On experts break down all the latest news, rumors, and developments going down in the NBA in 30 minutes or less. You can get them wherever you get your podcast. But for Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls, and we out for the weekend, bro. We'll see y'all, man.
Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.